Now, that brings us to chapter 11, our last chapter for today. This contains the story of the great tower that we often refer to as the Tower of Babel. It's the next story after the flood. So you've got these people. Notice verse 1, the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And keep in mind, we're getting a parallel account of this story from Genesis 11 over in Ether chapter 1 in the Book of Mormon, because that's where Jared and the brother of Jared and their families are rooted into our biblical narrative. Verse 2 says, it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And so then they say, hey, let's make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And so verse 4 says, go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. Which is so ironic that they want a name that is going to unify them, lest they be scattered. And the grand irony is it's from that group that there is a large group of people that's going to be scattered upon the whole face of the earth. These Jaredites are going to leave and literally be scattered in a really good way to the promised land. Now, most depictions of the Tower of Babel show this, this big tower structure that they're trying, like as if you're building this big tower to go to heaven. And it could be that way. It could be. I don't know. I just know from a lot of research that's been done back in Mesopotamia, back in antiquity, one of our colleagues, George Pierce, and his wife Crystal Pierce have done a lot of research into this time period. And they've found, I think it's over 24 examples of towers and temple-like structures in ancient Mesopotamia, where they start seeing some of the things that are written about how they were used and what the people's intent with the towers were. And as they've done this research, it seems that it's not as much that they're trying to physically climb up to heaven, as much as they're building tiers of large structures, and on the top, however tall your temple, they're called ziggurat, however tall your ziggurat is, or your tower, your temple is, it's in this uppermost one where you place things like a bed, a golden table. You provide a place where the gods are going to be able to have their needs met when they come down to the earth to visit men and the underworld. It's kind of this connecting point for them. But the whole point that you get in the Book of Mormon with the brother of Jared and the people leaving because of the wickedness, the beautiful insight, one of the many beautiful insights I've gained from George and Crystal's piece is this idea that these people were saying God is not all-powerful, God is not sovereign, and we are going to provide things for God. We're going to make God come to become like us, which is such a fascinating switch from what our temples today are intending to do, which is create these connecting points for us to come and learn of God. Here, to become like Him rather than having God become like us, it's, no, I need to learn God's language. I need to see things from God's perspective, not the other way around, which is this struggle at the Tower of Babel, is they're trying to bring God down to our level rather than what we try to do in the house of the Lord, which is bring us closer and closer and closer to God's level, to learn His language. And then as we go out into the world, to be able to share that light and goodness.